Hi guys, Arwin S here with Fight to Finish podcast. My name is Arwin S. Did I say that twice already?
Yeah.
Well, this is our inaugural episode. After the intro, you'll hear us call it something else, but that was a little bit of an impromptu name. Turns out that's already taken for a podcast. So official name is Fight to Finish podcast. I sit down with my wife, Sissi, who is my co-host for this podcast, and we get to know her a little bit more. So thank you for taking a chance on this podcast and listening, and we hope you guys subscribe. All right, guys. I don't know what to... All right, guys. My name is... What do I do? How do I
just stop it.
Why? You can cut... I can cut it out later.
Okay, but I mean... Okay, so what are we going to say?
Hold on. I'm trying... All right, guys. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Arwin S, and this is CCG. Right now, running title is going to be Apartment 1.
Oh, wait. Okay.
What did you think it was going to be?
I thought last time we talked about it being fit and fluffy.
We could say...
Oh, wait, right. No, sorry. That was our
pending name. Fit and fluffy. Guess which one I am. For those...
Yeah, he's definitely fit.
No, I'm definitely fluffy. So the kind of the reason why we wanted to do this podcast, at least this format of it, is just because I think, by the way, Sissi and I are married. My wife and I, we tend to have very interesting conversations. We have, between the both of us, as with any couple, have a lot of stories. But it's one of those things is when we have fairly funny conversations, and it was proposed to us that maybe we should sit down and record it, and as only of a record of our conversations that we can look upon in the future. But it's just something that people suggested, and I thought it would be a great format for us to kind of bond as newlyweds for now, and B, just have a record of the funny conversations we have for the future. So this is our podcast. I guess we should talk about a little bit of a history of us.
Yeah, so we met 2015.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 20 years ago. I was like, wait, you ain't even that old, girl. Like, damn.
Get out of here. I am that old. Much older than that, but yeah, we met in 2015 at a GoRec event. For those of you that don't know what GoRec is, it's basically you pay to be tortured. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, pretty much. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we did a GoRec event, and man, it was a custom event. Our friend Steven organized it. It's called NordCal 001. It was Viking themed. And Arwin actually was staring at my butt.
The way that I like to put it is she's missing a lot of key details here.
I think that was the biggest detail.
It was like she said, it was a custom GoRec event. So typically they have a somewhat different format, and at the time I'm what they would call a seasoned GRT. So I've done many events at that time.
Okay, how many have you done?
I don't know. I lost count.
He lost count after like what, 20, 30?
It's not as high as like Daytona, but
Daytona does one like every weekend.
Yeah, he still does one every weekend. But anyways, he organized a custom rug, which meant that he organized a big party of friends from that he knew. So it was like the end. I was living not in the Bay Area.
What is that?
I think that's a hobby. I don't know.
Someone just farted.
So, anyways, turns out, the custom was in San Jose. Sorry, not San Jose. Sunnyvale.
Santa Clara. Well, it started in Sunnyvale, went through Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Ended at Sunnyvale.
Lo and behold, she didn't have to travel far, while I had to get up at 3 a.m. just to make it. We actually live in the same area that we ruck that day. But anyways, so like she was describing, that you get paid to get you pay to get tortured for the most part, like go through PT and carry heavy stuff. So everyone is required to carry some sort of weight in a backpack, a ruck. And so I don't know how many hours into the event this was. I had a poopy face on poopy face on because I was tired. I had waken up at 3 a.m, driven all the way to the bay, and then put through some PT. And so we were in some sort of dirty ass creek, basically along, if you're from this area, the San Tomas River, or like along San Tomas. And
gross, it's nasty.
It's pretty nasty. And
But it's okay because we had already just been through we had walked through this water that had a bunch of duck poop in it, so we all smelled like crap.
We all
anyways,
smelled like
literally smelled like crap.
And yeah, so I wasn't really the happiest person at the moment, but then lo and behold, I see this
angel comes out of nowhere.
Okay. I see this tiny little girl carrying at least 20 pounds in her bag, minus the food, minus whatever stuff whatever, but a minimum of 20 pounds. And then on top of that, she's got an 80-pound sandbag she's carrying on her shoulders. And she's just casually talking to a friend. And yeah, naturally I stare at her ass for a little bit. I'm like, all right. So but I also don't want her to give me the 80-pound sandbag. So I strike up a quick conversation, and then before I don't know if she was ever going to ask me.
I'm not a little bitch. I wasn't going to ask her to take my weight.
So, yeah, and before she could say, hey, before I try to take the sandbag away from her, I walked away. But I did start up the conversation there. And after the event, we all tried to eat. We all enjoyed a meal together, and I happened to be sitting at the same table she was. And yeah, she was getting hit on by somebody else. And
who? Oh, I know.
We can't say their name, because how about if he listens to this?
He can listen.
But
I didn't know at the time that I was being hit on.
Oh, yeah. I was just enjoying my meal. And I was like,
this dude I meant by either you or the other guy.
Wow. Anyways, long story short, I butt into said conversation. And, yeah, we haven't stopped talking since. Okay.
To be fair, I also wasn't, really talking to you because I thought you liked my sister. Who, by the way, was also there. So... I was a little surprised when he texted, he messaged me on Facebook the next day, and I was like, what? The guy that was hitting on my sister?
And you're like, hell yeah. Not long story short, but prior to this, I think, what's interesting about our particular case is that from her view, she was kind of done, not done, but she had given up with the dating scene.
Yeah, I just didn't care. I was just like, you know what? Forget dating. Forget men. They're just, ugh.
She was going gay, guys.
I was not going gay.
She switched sides.
Yeah, and then I found Arwin, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely...
I converted her.
I was like, yeah, I definitely want women. Confirmed. No, but I was just over it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show up to this event. I'm just going to have fun. I'm not going to worry about meeting anyone or whatever,
And for me on my end, I had a string of bad experiences. Not horrible, but very interesting, which we'll probably get into maybe in this episode.
Sure
yeah. And we'll talk about them. But what's interesting is that one of her early GoRec events I was at with said early experiences. And the circle of friends that we had, it seemed like essentially we skirted around seeing each other or meeting each other until we did. So
I think we both did our first Spartan race was
the same Spartan race.
Spartan race. I think we just were our heat times were an hour apart.
Or something like that. And it was very likely that we had crossed paths. We just obviously didn't know each other and, knew of each other or whatever. Yeah. So it was one of those things. It was eventually, I like to think now, looking upon it as we're married, is that we would eventually have met in some way. Our paths kept crossing, just like in a sitcom. It's like
it's like, oh my God, they almost met. Oh my God, they almost met.
Yeah.
But I think we actually met at exactly the right time because we were both like single and okay.
Ready
Blinds
to
are. This place is haunted.
No, I think it's just because it's timed. 7 o'clock. It's probably
That's creepy, but I kind of like it.
It's nice. It's a nice view. We are at. Well, I'm not gonna say where we're at.
We're somewhere.
We're at a technology-infested building, and these automated blinds just opened.
Yeah.
That's very pretty, though. Go ahead. You were saying?
It's a good view. But yeah, I just think that it was like we almost met a bunch of times, but I think every time that we almost met, we were either like seeing someone or it's just like it just wouldn't have like been anything. It just wasn't the right time. But when we met, I think it was like perfect timing.
Yeah, I think so. And a little bit of background behind us, and it's probably you'll get to know us a little bit more. Is that for the longest time, Sissi worked in retail, and I also worked in retail. I used to work for, I don't know if we should say it, a big blue box technology retailer. Let's put it that way. And Sissi, what would you say? Where did you work for like 10 years and manage for 10 years?
I'll just go ahead and say it. I worked at Starbucks for 10 years. You know, from the customer's point of view, it seems like a great place to work. As a student, it is. But once you graduate from college, it gets old really fast. And for anyone out there that works at Starbucks, I'm so sorry. Good luck. I know customers are crazy, but honestly, it's just so much more than that. It's just the company itself. There's really no support. And your manager will make or break your experience there.
Sure.
Which, I mean, I guess is true for any company, but honestly, just the job I work in now is high stress. We deal with a lot of sensitive situations. Just background, I work in security. But
not actual security.
I'm not a security officer, but it's a lot of responding to incidents, and it's incident response, threat assessments, like that sort of thing. But it is high stress, but it is so mellow compared to what I had to deal with at Starbucks. Like, when I came to this field, I was like, wow, this is like mellow compared to working the rush at Starbucks. So yes, if you go to Starbucks, please be nice to the baristas.
So this is a new segment of the podcast I'd like to bring up, and we call it Bitter Barista.
Bitter Barista.
So the holidays are coming up.
So
what were your what were your favorite things about
So I loved, that was like the best time to work at Starbucks was during Christmas, but it was also the worst time.
Why?
Because it was the best because they have like the best merchandise, they have the best coffee. Like really, if you've never tried Christmas Blonde Espresso Roast, amazing. You need to try that.
Plain black with a little bit of cream. That's me.
And if you go into the stores, everything's red, it's all cheerful. They have the nog.
The nog. She just offered. By the way, it's 7 o'clock in the morning when we're recording this. She just offered me nog.
Yeah. Why would you not drink
nog
at 7 in the morning?
Okay,
it's
fine. Okay, so the
like
nog.
We're in the middle of November. It's time for nog.
Nog in Starbucks. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, like you have eggnog, like they have amazing pastries. If you've never tried a cranberry bliss bar, you should try it, but only one because I swear that stuff will stick with you for like the rest of the year. Really sweet.
Did people try to...
People tipped better.
Well, did they also try to steal more? Did they increase? Did you see increased traffic into any of your stores?
So the thing is that, of course, with opportunity, there's crime, right?
Sure.
So, of course, we had people coming in trying to, like, scam us. But you see the same scams at, like, all the stores. You know, people coming in and saying, like, oh, you know, I purchased this tumbler and I don't like it, so I want to return it. Okay, do you have a receipt? No, I don't. But I purchased it here. Okay, when did you purchase it? And I was literally like that asshole barista that would sit there and look through every single transaction, even though I know that they're lying. And I'd be like, nope, there's no record of your transaction here. You're going to have to go to the store.
You just kind of want to entertain them to...
Yeah, just make it seem like I actually care.
So that plane could go high as they can fly, and then you shoot it down.
Yep. And I'm just like, yeah, I know you're lying to me right now. And it was always like the same, like... people, and you would see them at this, like they would do the same thing at like every store in the area.
Maybe it's not this. Maybe this is an old question now, because with mobile orders and what Starbucks baristas are doing now. But did you purposely misspell people's names on the cups?
No.
You sure?
I'm sure. I would not. Okay, I mean, maybe if you were a dick.
See, okay, so
like if you were a jerk, then I would just, it was like very passive aggressive, like.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
My name is Richard, not Dick. Why did you put Dick on the cup?
No, I never did that. But like, no, but I would honestly try to like spell people's names correctly. It's just like, I'm sorry, but if you have like 10 letters in your name and you spell it really quickly, and then you're a dick about how
it's okay.
It's spelled, like I ask you to repeat it because you're just like, oh yeah, it's ACDB. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I caught like the first 3 letters. Can you slower? And then you were a dick about it, be like, yeah, okay, now good luck. Good luck finding your beverage.
I used to work at, I'm just going to almost say it, but the Big Blue Box, and one technique I remember using a lot, and I still kind of use it throughout these days now, is I'll always ask for their name in the beginning of the conversation, and then later when I'm about to close the sale, I would ask them their name, to spell their name. I remember one time, great conversation. The guy ended up buying something, but I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. How did you spell your name again?" So I can reference, whatever. And he goes, B-O-B. I was like, "Oh, yeah. People spell it differently." I was like, "I'm retarded. Why did I come up with that lie?" I was like, "Okay." He knew that I forgot his name, so I was like, I got caught in the lie, whatever.
That's funny.
But, in terms of how do people get free shit at Starbucks? From one barista to the general public.
Man.
What's one key way of getting free stuff at Starbucks besides stealing?
The best way to get free stuff at Starbucks, be nice. Honestly, be nice. These people deal with dicks every single... And not that all customers are assholes. It's just that when you come across, bit of
niceties go a long way.
Yeah, when you come across the jerks, and honestly, a lot of people, honestly, they just don't even talk to you. They just come in, they order, they leave, and it's fine.
We do that now.
It's not
we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad or good. You're just a customer. They're probably not going to remember you if laundry's done.
We can pause this, but go ahead.
They're not. That barista's probably not going to remember you. They might. Some of them are really good about remembering every single person that walks into the store. But if you want free stuff, be nice. Ask them how their day is going. They're going to ask you hey, how's it going? How's your day so far? Blah, blah, blah. Just do the customer service thing. But the ones that really stand out are the ones that ask you, how's your day going? How was your holiday? So honestly, that's the easiest way to get free stuff.
I do have a follow-up question, but we'll jump cut. So we are doing our laundry because, we live in an apartment, unfortunately, that charges for laundry. And Sisi's current job has free laundry services, so we're utilizing that at the moment. So what we'll do is take a quick break, and then we'll jump cut right into the next question. And we are back. Sorry about that. That's took us a little bit to wait for these dryers tend to be...
I'm sure you guys were just pause the podcast and pretended like we left, and now after about 10 minutes, now you're starting the podcast again. So
well, they won't notice anything. It'll just be a jump cut. Anyways, so the question I had, I think yesterday I was watching this. I'd shared with you this comedian. This comedian who was apparently it's from Canada because you referenced Tim Hortons, and most people that reference Tim Hortons are either Canadian or live in the New England area, near the border or whatever. Anyways, part of her bit was that she caught the pumpkin spice bandit, somebody who would steal. Did you have any experiences like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, people used to try to steal stuff all the time. Just grabbing people's beverages. And I mean, like, sometimes, we did have people that, like, would actually just walk in, pretend like they're waiting for a beverage, and then take food or a drink
really?
or whatever. But it's not something that happened a lot, at least not, like, in, like, where I worked. I think we got a lot more scammers than anything.
People tried this. Okay.
Yeah, so one of the common scams was, say that the barista made the beverage without soy, and they would choose, like, and they're like, well, I'm allergic to dairy, so I was in the hospital, and now I need a gift card with the value of 4 venti green tea frappuccinos made with soy.
Very specific.
Or it was sometimes they say caramel frappuccinos with extra caramel, and I would just kind of laugh and be like, well, you do realize the caramel sauce has dairy in it, so even if you make it with soy, if you're allergic to dairy, that will kill you. So kind of struggling here to understand how you're able to have a soy caramel frappuccino and not have a reaction to the dairy in the caramel. So it's just funny little things like that. I don't know.
Did you have a lot of transients stay in your store? Because I noticed a lot of people.
So when you go up into the city, you're going to see a lot more transients. In the stores that I worked at, we had our regulars, and those transients, for the most part, they were good. They never really bothered anyone. They just wanted, like, a warm place to kind of hang out, especially during the winter, or like a cool place to hang out during the summer. And at Starbucks, they had a policy where you didn't have to purchase a beverage or a food item to be able to hang out there. Like, anyone could just come in and hang out. So as long as they didn't disrupt anyone, it was fine. Just the same as if a businessman came in just to work on his business, we wouldn't kick out a transient for just sitting there the same way a businessman would sit there. So it was very much like treating everyone the same. And
that's good. Do you go in? I noticed that when we go into Starbucks now, Sisi's kind of judgy.
Oh, I'm super judgy.
Yeah. Just in general, she's just very judgy.
Well, after working there for 10 years, you just know, like, how it's supposed to look, and, and I struggle because sometimes, like, I see that, like, the condiment bar isn't stocked, and, like,
by the way, sometimes
it's not clean, and so, like,
sometimes she'll actually go clean it. We're sitting down, she'll go clean it, and I'm like, what are you doing?
And I know, like, where they keep the supplies, and so, like, I really struggle to, like, not open up the cabinets and just start restocking the sugars and stuff.
Someone that doesn't like working there.
You know what? It's hard to break habits, okay?
It's been ingrained in you for, like, what?
It has for 10 years. 10 years.
But you haven't been working in retail in
PTSD.
You haven't worked in retail in how many years now?
4 years. Well, a little less than 4. 3.5. 3.5 years.
So she worked in retail. Starbucks is, no matter what way you cut it, for 10 years. She managed for how long? As a manager or some sort of manager?
So as an assistant manager and as a manager, it was a total of, I think, 4 years. Okay. And then before that, I was the shift supervisor. Okay. But that wasn't really, like, managing the store. That was a little bit different, but...
Yeah. I worked at a Big Blue Box for 8 years. Yeah. We'll get into those stories later. That could be a whole series in itself, too.
So I know that I talk a lot of crap about Starbucks, but I do have to admit that after all this, like, all the experiences through Starbucks, like, I did learn a lot. And so I'm not saying, like, you shouldn't work at Starbucks. Like, it's a good first job. And
it's not a forever job.
I just don't. Yeah, I mean, you have to be a certain type of person to make to make Starbucks your career. And for those of you that have been there for more than 10 years, good for you. I don't know how you do it, and I don't know. Like, it's really hard on the body too. Like, you see a lot of people with injuries. They end up with carpal tunnel. And there was, like, one barista. She'd been there.
Carpal tunnel.
I have carpal tunnel.
You have a little bit of arthritis? No.
I have arthritis. Yeah.
By the way, she's very, very relatively young. So in terms of having worked there for, we can't go bowling. And me as a Filipino.
I mean, we can bowl. It's just, I tap out a lot sooner than he does, just because of like the issues with my wrist. But yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, like they do. So not to say that Starbucks doesn't like have resources for you to learn how to not get injured, and they talk about like repetitive stress injury and all that, but honestly, as a barista, like I never really understood like the importance of that, and I don't think that they stress it enough. And like even like picking up boxes and stuff, I saw a lot of injuries from people not being strong enough to lift up some of the boxes that were like it's just like a box full of like paper cups, but it weighs. It's not super light. It does weigh some, and so like you see people throwing their backs out. And I remember like before I started working out, like people used to tell me all the time, like, "Oh, you're lifting with your back," and I'm like, "No, I'm lifting with my legs." But I didn't like. I had no idea. No one had ever taught me how to lift. I saw the little figure, and I thought I was doing it just like the guy in the picture. But
so now you, as a part-time fitness coach, because you are.
I'm a CrossFit coach. Yeah,
CrossFit coach.
Yeah,
here at your work. Part-time as a
employee to employee
coach. Were you lifting with your
I honestly don't know. Like I can't remember. I mean, I think I most likely was doing it wrong if people were like pointing it out, but
so and I'm not a coach, but I do like to think that I have a good foundation in terms of working out compared to, let's say, my coworkers. I work in an office environment. A lot of times, and in my office environment, it's the general makeup is of a lot more older people. I am definitely in the minority of the youth in the office. So every time they're not used to the speed that I do things, especially if it's physical labor, like picking up a box or picking up product. I remember one time someone, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna guess who it is, was like, "Oh my God, you have to lift with your legs, not your Arwin." I was like, "Well, you can barely lift yourself off the floor. Like, I should not be what you're saying is not invalid, but I'm not gonna take advice from a person that's, fitness advice from a person that literally prides himself in being lethargic." You know, and it's like, get out of here. Like, I get it.
Well, and I have just being as athletic, I guess. I'm trying to think of like how to word this, but like
way possible.
So,
like, oh God. What's
funny is like not everyone, sorry, a lot of people that I come across, like as soon as like they hear that I work out, they want to give you like fitness advice, and they shut up pretty quickly as soon as I say I'm a coach. And they're just like, "Oh, okay, you're an expert." And what's funny is like I used to think that like all coaches were like expert. They're not. I think that there's some really good coaches out there, but I think that there's also coaches out there that don't know like what the heck they are doing. But everyone has like a strength, and they're good at like certain things, and I think it's about finding like the right coach. But but I think that like it's also important to like know that like just because like someone's not a coach, it doesn't mean like that they don't know.
Sure, and but I don't want to knock the people that are not officially coaches that do a good job that help inspire somebody, because for me, a little background on me, I prior to my quote unquote fitness journey and go rec journey and whatever now new journey, I used to be, I'm still big.
You're not that big
now, but I used to be fairly overweight, and
how much did you weigh?
300 plus, enough to be able to have food on my belly and a drink while I played video games. Like, I remember that vividly. But anyways, like, I was fairly overweight, and shout out to Mytholomus San. I Will Strength. I don't know if that's still your thing, but now I think he's bodybuilding. But he's still not an officially licensed coach. But he was always one of those guys out of the friend group that was fairly fit, and he invited me to do daily morning workouts with him, and he helped inspire me, and now that I look upon it, he gave me a good foundation. Would you not agree with seeing how I lift now, as with my lifting? Like, would you agree that I have a fairly good understanding of how to do a proper, like, I want to say powerlifting?
I mean, not just powerlifting, but I think even with, like, Olympic lifting, like, you've been doing CrossFit for how many weeks?
Over a month. Wow, you said weeks. You make it sound like so minuscule. It's been like over a month, asshole.
Okay, it's been like 5 weeks because
she still went to weeks. You made it sound like, okay, whatever.
No, because think about it. Okay, so Arwin started. No, it's been a few months. You're right. Because you did your onboarding like back in August, yeah. Just in time so we could go do CrossFit when we went to Arwin's brother's wedding in Vegas.
Like 5 weeks.
But consistently though, like, yeah. You've been doing it for for a little over a month. And after like a month or so of doing CrossFit, like he did the CrossFit Open, and you did pretty well. I mean, you RX'd at least one of the workouts, which is great.
Out of 5, I did 4 workouts and I RX'd 1. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, he missed the first workout.
To round back, not to cut you off, sorry, babe. To round back to my point here is, like, that's not to say that's not to take away credit from people who help inspire and help motivate people, because, definitely without Meth as a coach, even though he's like not certified, I definitely do think there's a lot of good coaches out there that are licensed and non-licensed. It's just about, like what Sissi was saying, what she's gonna say is find the right one that works for you, because there's definitely a lot of bad licensed and overpriced coaches out there, right? And you have had fairly bad experiences.
Yeah, I mean,
and you have a good one. You have an excellent one now. Shout out to. Yeah. You want to give a shout out to your.
Well, so first I'm going to say I'm not going to talk about my bad experiences, because I think,
let's not talk about that.
I don't want to. Like, this was their hustle, and like it just wasn't right for me. But I do have a really good coach now. Thanks, Coach Sean. He really like changed the way, not just the way that I move, but like.
Whoa! What?
Stop! Calm your tits. But honestly, it was just like it wasn't just like the way that I move, but like the way that like I view the workouts, and like honestly, like mentally, like I've changed over like this year. I've been working with Sean. So I started working with Sean like in the new year. It wasn't a New Year's resolution. First, let's start there. It was not a New Year's resolution. I think it was like last November. I was like, like it was just one of those things where I was like, I've always wanted to try CrossFit, but like, I just don't know how to do the Olympic lifting. I was like, I'm scared about getting hurt. I've gotten hurt so much in my fitness journey, and like I have a messed up left shoulder. I have 2 torn rotator cuffs. Just a lot of injuries from not moving correctly. And so, that was one thing that scared me about weightlifting, was getting injured, and like, blowing out my shoulder, and, being out for however many months. And so I decided, okay, I'm just gonna, I was like, I'm gonna start taking this art class. That was my New Year's resolution, was, learn how to draw. And so I signed up for an art class in the new year, and I was like, well, you know what? Like, I have some time between work and this art class. Like, I might as well just work with like a personal trainer, learn how to do these Olympic lifting movements. And then, once the art class is over and I've already learned these movements, then great. Then I'll stop working with my trainer, and then I'll just do CrossFit. And then, I did my art class, and I learned how to draw. And it's hard, and anyone who knows how to draw really well, like, props to you, because it is really hard. And I don't really draw anymore, but I am still lifting, and I'm still working with Coach Sean. And I worked with him from like January until about May, doing Olympic lifting and just learning the lifts. And in May, I decided to join the CrossFit class here at work, and I started doing that, and then in July, I went for my CrossFit level 1.
So just to kind of follow up. So your initial intention was to just. What was your initial intention of working out, having a coach?
Oh, just to learn how to do a clean and jerk and a snatch.
So Sean,
without getting injured.
So Sean, if you're listening to this, know that she was going to drop you after you taught her those lifts.
Yeah, I had every. I mean, it even
You
says,
had every intention.
I had every intention of just doing personal training long enough until like my art class was done. So I think it was like 10 weeks.
So 10 weeks she was going to drop you, bro. And so now
I was. I'll be honest. And it even says that like I had to fill out a form saying like if I wanted long-term or short-term training, and I chose short-term. I really only had intention of like 10 weeks. So now it's becoming a long-term. I think we're almost a year in.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say it's long-term.
So in terms of I mean that's a testament to his coaching and your aptitude to learning, right? You I think you were right before I cut you off. You were talking about going from trainer and client to getting interested into CrossFit, becoming a coach yourself.
Yep.
Into now leading your own workouts, right? And implement right. So now you don't have clients, but you have people that look forward to your classes, and this is all in the span of within this year.
Yeah. So I've been coaching. I've been coaching the CrossFit classes. I mean, I have like one every week, and then I pick up classes here and there wherever they need people. But I've been doing it since I want to say like August.
Yeah, since we got married. By the way, we got married in
September.
Yeah,
so I've been coaching since August. And I mean,
do you enjoy it? That's a better question.
I do enjoy it. I think not like coaching itself is okay. I think what's fun is seeing people progress and seeing them get better. Like that's the fun part.
I think that's what makes a good coach, because it's now it's you're inspiring the next person, like you're inspiring the next Arwin or whatever to get better.
Yeah.
Or to hopefully one day get fit.
Yeah.
So.
But I think so I was going to drop Sean after 10 weeks. Sorry, Sean. But after I got my first pull up after working with him for 3 months.
So that was one of your goals, is to get a pull up.
And
by the way,
and I'd worked with a lot of coaches to try to get that pull up.
This is not something new, and for those of you that can do pull ups, some people struggle. Right? I remember not being able to do my first pull up, and it is a complicated movement to cycle or to string together, right? I think with that's just to put that out there. So don't judge. She was working on it for a long time, and so that was, I guess I do
Years.
remember that was one of her goals. Like she put it on. So backstory: we have a whiteboard. Long before Can't Hurt Me, before we read it or the book came out, we had a whiteboard in our room. That it's not a resolutions, but it's just goals that we write down that we want to achieve, right? And at the beginning of the year, you said find a new gym because you were currently.
No, that was like in November. It was actually like right before David Goggins released his book.
But
which is funny because like I wrote all my goals out and then like I read his book and I was just like, I'm so inspired.
That's another thing we can talk about. But I do remember vividly. You wrote on there, find a new gym, find a new, or get a pull up. That was one of your goals.
One of my goals was get one pull up.
Yeah, but go ahead. You were saying now about your pull-up. That was one of your goals with Sean.
So the thing is like I wanted to get pull-ups ever since like I started my fitness journey, which was I don't even how many years ago. It was back when I was at the Academy of Self-Defense.
Oops. Anyways, go ahead.
No, oops. It's just that's what I wanted. It's just there's reasons why I didn't get it when I was there. We can get into that later, but.
Excuse me.
After I left ASD, I went to UFC gym. Couldn't get it. Worked with different coaches. Couldn't get it. And it just, the way that it had been explained to me was just like, I spent like an hour working on machines just to get one pull-up, and I was like, this is not worth it. Like, how is it that people can get, like, I don't have time to spend an hour to work out muscles just for one pull-up. And then I started working with Coach Sean, and through, honestly, like, just doing Olympic weightlifting, it does activate a lot of, if you're doing it correctly, you are activating those lats. And, we did, like, overhead squats, which one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, overhead squats, snatches. This is really hard. But like all of these movements that he was having me do really helped build up that strength. And I wasn't like spending an hour on machines. I was like learning these different skills that were also helping me get that strength that I needed for that first pull-up. And not to say that we never worked on pull-ups, like we did. We would spend time every session like working on pull-ups. And then I also, outside of our sessions together and outside of like my workouts, I was also working on pull-ups on my own. Just like doing like what he taught me and just practicing, and it paid off. After 3 months, I got my first pull-up, and I think now I'm up to 5 strict, which is great. Working on my first muscle up. Got my first banded muscle up yesterday. That was awesome. We're using like a really light band, so I think like honestly it was I think it's like a 15-pound band.
And so for people that don't understand what a muscle up is, and she's doing this with rings. You can do this with just a straight bar.
Yesterday it was bar.
I understand, but I'm just trying to give people context.
Yeah.
So you can do this with bar or with a rings, but what you're doing is basically coming up from a pull-up, pulling yourself up above the hanging like if it was a dead hang pull-up, doing the pull-up, and then pressing up. So your torso is effectively over the bar. So going from a dead hang to pressing yourself all the way up. So that's basically what a muscle up is. And
that's a strict muscle up. So I was doing kipping yesterday.
Correct. Well, I'm just
so people aren't confused.
Well, okay, then if you want to say that, then explain what a kip is. You have to explain what a kip is. You have to understand, like, not everybody's going to have the fitness knowledge. So we have to assume, we have to just describe it. So what is a kip?
It's a swing where movement is generated from the shoulders, and
so basically
you're basically just like swinging like back and forth. You're using, like you're popping your hip. It's hard to explain like without like seeing it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So imagine with the strict muscle up, but now you're generating momentum with your legs, or part of your legs. It's a swinging.
You're not generating momentum with your legs.
Hold on, what I'm trying to do. See, now this is Coach Sissi.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill him.
and I'm trying to be descriptive for the people that are listening that don't understand. So you're generating a swinging motion to get over the bar. You can also Google it, but at the same time, I'm just trying to be descriptive for you guys. But anyways, you were doing banded muscle up, so you used a band. Mm-hmm. You used a light band to help assist you to get in that to develop the movement. So
yeah. So honestly, like the band, what it really helps me with is like the band gives me a lot of feedback. So it tells me like when I'm in the right position to like swing back, pop my hip up, and then swing over the bar. So that's really what the band was helping me with. It's not so much helping me with the strength piece. I have the strength. It's just about understanding what that movement feels like.
Yeah, I understand. But it's also doing it at it's it's allowing you to concentrate on the movement by alleviating some of the not body weight, but some of the body weight.
Yeah, it does take off some of my weight. Yeah.
Depending on, in this case, a light band. So you're mostly probably doing 95% of your weight. Well, how much was?
So I think the band was like a 15-pound band.
Okay, so it was definitely 90% of your weight that you were already carrying.
Yeah.
So that's. So just to explain that, it's very long-winded. We'll get better at this, guys. Promise.
We lost half of our audience during the muscle up piece.
Anyways,
forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about, you were on your glorifying Sean here.
He's a good coach.
Okay, what makes a good coach? That's a better question. What makes a good coach? Now that you've had a string of bad ones and a really good one, and you as a coach, what do you think makes a good coach? Fitness coach,
I think
not
one
life
thing
coach
that's a misconception is that a good coach is really knowledgeable. You do need knowledge, but knowledge alone is not what makes a good coach. If you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to explain it to your client,
Doesn't mean anything.
and have them understand, really that knowledge is useless. I mean, it's great for you because now you can do all these things, but if you can't explain it to your client in a way that it helps them understand, and then they can replicate what you're explaining, then that knowledge is essentially useless to your client. So I think having a coach, like I don't know, like Sean was trying to explain the muscle up to me yesterday, and he must have gone through like 3 or 4 different like ways of explaining it until I finally got it. And I think that that comes with experience. He's taught these movements for so many years, and I think like he's picked up different coaching cues and ways to explain things, and so really figuring out what your client isn't understanding, like what is it about them that they're doing wrong, and how can you explain it so that they can fix it.
So now you as a coach, have you start to implement a lot of those things, or you're adding your own flavor, or you're just disregarding it altogether?
So I have like my own little style of explaining things. Still trying to figure out like my how to explain things to people, and still trying to figure out my own flow.
This.
Stop. Just trying to figure out my own flow. It's tough. Like, that's why I say like I had bad experiences with coaches, but that doesn't mean that they're bad coaches. They just weren't the right coach for me. The way that they explained things, unfortunately, just didn't make sense to me. I didn't get the results that I wanted, but other people saw really great results with them. So I just think they just weren't the right coach for me. And I came across Coach Sean, and he's just super knowledgeable, really good at explaining things, ridiculously patient.
He's a saint, guys. I feel his pain every day. He only works with her for an hour every week. I have the rest of my life.
Yeah. I get sassy with him sometimes. He just, I don't know why he puts up with me. Oh, because I pay him, that's why. Yeah. So,
you want to pay me too?
No, I don't want to pay you.
Get away from me.
You know what? I pay you in other ways.
What does that mean?
You're about to be not paid anymore. But yeah, so I definitely like look at the way that like Sean coaches people, and like I try to implement some of that myself, and like take what works, and I try to do it myself. But the way that he explains things isn't always like, when I try to explain it the same way, it doesn't always translate well. So it's just about like finding my own flow, and yeah. I mean, it's like I said, I've only been coaching CrossFit for like a month or 2 since August, so a couple months. Almost 3 months. Yeah, just a few months. So I have a long journey ahead of me before I can even. So
this is something you want to continue to do.
Yeah, I mean.
See, I've been saying this since the beginning that you should become a coach.
Get out of here. But
is it not true?
It's not true.
You know it's damn true. What was your number one reason that you didn't want to become a coach?
I don't know. What was my number one reason?
You hate people.
I do hate people.
So if you guys are in her CrossFit class, she hates you. She's judgy. It's anything that we learned from her today, guys. She judges. She hates people, but she likes to inspire people. So it's one of those catch-22s. She wants to inspire you so she can judge you. That's basically.
No, I mean,
wrong.
I like the people in my CrossFit class. I do like the people that I coach with. The general public. And I think that comes from working at Starbucks, where I would get yelled at all the time. Just for the most ridiculous things. It's just, yeah. I guess I hate needy people is more.
But she's the neediest person that I know.
I am.
So she looks in the mirror and is like, I hate you. I hate you.
No, I'm like, you are amazing. Arwen hates you, though.
You are a piece of shit.
No! Stop. So, apparently Arwen thinks I'm a piece of shit. I think we've learned this today. He hates me, and he thinks I'm a piece of shit. Thanks, babe.
I love you.
Now I know the truth.
You're the piece of shit that I love.
Like I said, he thinks I'm a piece of shit. Thanks, babe. But yeah, no, I don't know. I like the people that I work with. Honestly, if I don't like you, I'm just not gonna pay attention to you. Like, I'm just gonna stay away from you. Like, that's just how I am. Like, I don't like to waste my own time, so I just I do not waste my own time. So I think that's how you'll know if I like you or not, is if I want to hang out with you or not. Like, if you're constantly like, oh, we should hang out, I'm just like, yeah, no. You'll know. Sorry.
So to all her friends out there,
of you that are listening to this,
still waiting on a reply.
Besties.
Still waiting on a reply. She's the type of person that leaves it on red.
This is
it's red. This bitch didn't even text me back. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, if my head doesn't pop up, then I never read it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think we're running up to 50 minutes. I think this is a good time to stop. So, that is, maybe. So you guys got to know Sissi. Basically, I interviewed her. But yeah, this is kind of like the new thing for us that we want to try.
They got to know you too.
Yeah.
You were overweight. Now you're not.
Wow, nice how you just went straight to overweight. Could have been the GoRuck thing. Could have been, whatever. Just went straight to you were fat.
You were fat. Now you're not.
Fluffy. Remember how you wanted to call this fit and fluffy?
Yeah.
So the answer is that. Which one she thinks is fit and which one's fluffy?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm fluffy.
No, we just got done talking about a long ass segment about
you were fat, and now that you're not. Now that you're fit.
All right, we're gonna start ending this.
God.
So yeah, this is new for us. So we're gonna try to make this a pretty good discipline thing. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. Again, my name is Arwin S, and this is CCG signing off. We'll see you on the next one.
Fit and fluffy.
No.